This is the Georgia Farm Monitor. Since 1966, your source for state and national agribusiness news, and features for farmers and consumers about Georgia's #1 industry, agriculture. The Georgia Farm Monitor is produced by the state's largest general farm organization, the Georgia Farm Bureau. Now, here are your hosts, Ray DeLessio and Kenny Burgamy.
Yes, all our hard work and effort the past week has come to this. A whole 30 minutes dedicated to Georgia agriculture. Welcome, everybody. So glad you tuned into the Farm Monitor. I'm Ray DeLessio.
And I'm Kenny Burgamy. As always, we've got a lot of good stories for you. Case in point, how's this for impressive? One of Georgia's young farmers side by side with President Trump. Coming up, the reason for Brittany Ivey's visit to Washington and whether or not she feels her story will make a difference.
Also on the show, a quick and easy recipe using canned goods at the low cost of $1.63 per person. Meals from the field featuring this year's Pantry Pride recipe competition winner.
And then later, with more and more school districts striving for healthier lunch menus, Damon Jones on how the Georgia Department of Agriculture is helping them achieve their goal. These stories and so much more starting right now on the Georgia Farm Monitor. With the majority of children now growing up away from the farm, it's more important than ever to spread the story of agriculture in the classrooms. And what better people to tell that story than those involved with agriculture themselves? That's the purpose of the GFB Educational Leadership Conference, as it gives those volunteers different ways to connect with the children.
We're holding our 2017 Georgia Farm Bureau Leadership Convention. It's actually a one-day conference. We come in the night before, and our focus is agriculture, helping teachers, county offices, volunteers with Farm Bureau, so that they can go back out into their counties and communities and teach ag a little bit easier.
Today we wanted to give the volunteers an activity they could take into the classroom with their Farm Bureau group, and it's an activity that is related to the science standards that they are going to have to cover, that the teachers are having to cover in their classrooms already. So this is a way we can step right in and help the teacher with an activity that's very hands-on and brings that lesson to life for the students. I definitely think they can take it into the classroom. It's a very simple activity to do, but we also gave them some ways that if they wanted to enhance this or enrich, with the older group of students, that they can take these activities and then build upon those things as well.
What we did was provide lessons and proof, data, connections and lessons for teachers and people who are interested in the ag industry and how they can connect with their local school systems to encourage kids to learn and to know more about agriculture, how to appreciate agriculture and what it does for them, the economical impact that it has on where they live.
I think it's very important that the volunteers are taking activities into the classroom. They are connecting the students with a real life person that does this for a living, and a teacher can stand up there all day long and talk about these things, but it is amazing what somebody who's in that industry comes in and does a lesson and teaches it. It just sticks with them. So it's very important that we're going into the classrooms and enriching those lessons.
People who have a background in agriculture, number one, they're very passionate about what they do because it's a internal passionate thing that they've lived, and it's inspiring. And just to have someone want to come in and volunteer in your school system, take time with kids, that they have a true passion and background for what they do, it inspires kids, and then they want to learn, they want to know more about it.
And we had taken our corn sheller and corn grinder from home. We had dry corn, so the students shucked fresh corn that they would eat, and then they shucked dry corn, and they shelled it, and then they ground it up. And one little boy looked up at us at the end, and little blue-eyed boy, and he said, "When I grow up, I want to be a farmer." And I knew what I was doing was important, but that was life-changing for me, and I knew there wasn't a stopping point.
We have plenty of volunteers that, of course, are here and learning these activities, but AFBF has a wonderful website that you can go to. It has all of these activities as well, more than you could ever imagine using. Also, we have our Educational Leadership Conference that you can go through with Farm Bureau. There's a National Ag in the Classroom website as well that has lots of activities that you can look into as well. So there's some places I would start, but really encourage you to get in touch with your Farm Bureau because there's some people there that can help you.
Well, it's not every day you get to sit next to the president and share your story, but that was the case recently for Stevens County Young Farmer Chair Brittany Ivy. Brittany was invited to the White House and gave her personal testimony on how the Affordable Care Act had impacted her family when she was forced to go to the exchange to receive her health insurance.
I couldn't get health insurance through my employer as a new employee, so we had to enter into the Affordable Care Act, and we got an Obamacare plan through the exchange, and it cost us roughly $1,300 a month, and nobody would take it. So we paid $8,800, and then none of our doctors would accept it. So it was like not having insurance. Secretary Price was in there, and they were so nice and so caring. They really seemed to feel for the individuals in the room that were telling their story, and it was just a hopeful time for me, and I think a lot of the others that were in there. I really do feel like they're trying to do something that's going to help us.
Meantime, peanut farmers are getting ready for the 2017 growing season, and in Statesboro recently, many growers gathered to hear some of the latest information from UGA experts.
That event covered everything from planting dates to weed control so farmers can keep boosting yields and cutting expenses. The Monitor's Mark Wildman has the report.
Georgia peanut farmers keep supplying the nation and the world with a high-quality crop year after year. And a large part of that success is because of the experts at the University of Georgia. In Bullock County, a very large crowd was on hand to hear some of the latest research for this very important Georgia crop. One of the key pieces of information farmers can have is when to plant. And peanut agronomist Scott Tubbs reminded growers about how important planting dates are to the overall success of the crop.
Somewhere between the 2 and 4 inch soil depth, temperatures need to be sustained for about 68 degrees Fahrenheit for 3 consecutive days. So that's usually going to occur somewhere between mid-April and late April, and that's when the majority of growers are probably going to start planting their crop.
Weeds are a problem in any crop, and developing a good weed management program will pay huge dividends on the farm.
Specifically today, we're focusing on a couple of things: starting clean, timeliness of application, specific programs to use in management. Those are the main things that we're going to be focusing on today. There's some new technologies coming out in cotton. You may have heard about some of the 2,4-D or dicamba technologies that are coming in cotton. So growers are concerned a little bit about off-target movement and how peanuts might be affected or not affected by off-target movement from those particular herbicides as well.
Weeds can get out of control very fast, and it is one thing to have good research, but the producers must act on that information.
I think we're blessed in Georgia. We have some great growers, first of all, and that they've really listened to some of the messages that we've had since 2004 when we first started having major trouble. And so they've really adopted some of the technologies and the practices that we've brought to their attention, and we're doing a much better job. It's still not perfect, but we're a lot better off than some of the other states that are just now really coming to grips with the pigweed resistance problem.
The Georgia peanut industry is very strong, and farmers keep growing a large number of acres.
In terms of planted acreage, the last 2 years we have planted more than 700,000 acres in the state of Georgia. We anticipate a little bit higher this next year going in, that will be over 700,000 acres once again for a third consecutive year. That has not happened since 1993.
This meeting was also interactive. Farmers were able to give confidential feedback on certain questions, which will help researchers in their efforts to strengthen Georgia's #1 industry.
Oh, it's one of my favorite things. Again, I think I'm fortunate to live in a state where, first of all, the Extension Service is still doing what it's supposed to do, delivering science-based information to the clientele, and our farmers are very receptive and supportive of our efforts to try to help them do a better job in their farming operations. So it's a pleasure for me to deliver that message.
In Statesboro, I'm Mark Wildman for the Georgia Farm Monitor.
All right, Mark, thanks so much. When we come back, if you like quick, easy, and inexpensive, then this recipe is for you. Meals from the field when the Farm Monitor continues. Stay tuned.
All right, the Monitor continues. Well, every year, Georgia 4-H, in conjunction with the Georgia Food Bank Association, hosts the Pantry Pride Contest, which takes place in October at the Georgia National Fairgrounds. The competition, a contest where students develop and make recipes that can easily be found in their local food bank. And of course, Georgia Farm Bureau has been a longtime supporter of the Georgia Food Bank Association. This year's contest winner, Savannah Pageant, a 12th grader and 4-H'er from Decatur County, who won the contest with her peach kiss pork and confetti rice recipe. Hey, we welcome you to another edition of Meals from the Field, and look who we have, Savannah herself in person. So glad to have you here, Savannah. Take us back to October and to the whole competition, because I know the kids that we've talked to in the past about this, it is nerve-wracking. So take us back to that, take us back to the recipe part of it, and just kind of the emotions that you were going through at that time.
During the competition, I've been competing in cooking competitions at the fair since 7th grade. So I just cleared my head, was just thinking like I was going to cook it for my family until the point they were about to call the names. That's whenever I start getting my most nervous. Whenever I'm already done cooking, there's nothing else I can do to change what I've done.
That is true, that is true. And Marcia, so good to see you again as well.
Good to see you, Ray, and Savannah.
And I know you admire these kids for what they go through, these recipes. I mean, you do it for fun, and you've been in cooking competitions before.
Yeah,
I mean, how difficult is it?
I've judged cooking competitions, so I know it's nerve-wracking on both ends. You want to pick the fair winner, the best person for the job. You want to do that, so it's hard being a judge.
So what do we have today? Tell us about your winning competition or your winning recipe here.
Today we have peach kissed pork with confetti rice, and it is a peach salsa with cubed pork chops and rice that has sauteed onions, carrots, and green beans. And most of the ingredients you can find in a food bank. And the meal costs $1.63 per person.
That's good. Awesome. All right, well, take us from
scratch
for
us today.
How does it all go? Tell us how you make it.
Well, first what I start with is I start making the rice, and I will start by sauteing the garlic, onions, carrots, and green beans. And then you put the rice and the water in with it and just let this cook. It will take about 20 minutes with a rice cooker.
Okay.
And
now, can you use a big pot as well?
You can use a pot on the stove, but I find it easier, especially in cooking competitions, when you just want to put it in there and let it set, and you don't have to worry about it anymore, and it will cook and turn off all on its own. Then I'll start on my peach salsa, which I will do right now. And
what you need?
The peaches.
There you go.
You take 2 cans of peaches. I have already drained and cut them up into smaller slices.
And you can find lots of canned goods at a food bank,
yes,
correct?
Yes, you can.
Okay.
The tomatoes. These are just diced tomatoes.
Now, could you use fresh peaches if you were
can
so
use
lucky to have them?
fresh peaches and fresh tomatoes. It's just for the food bank competition.
Gotcha.
Pantry Pride, that I did substitute a lot of the ingredients with items you can find in a food bank.
Well, the good thing about this is you could do it any time of the year.
Yes, ma'am.
And it's easy.
Yes, it is. This is jalapenos and 1 diced jalapeno. Then onions. And that 1/4 teaspoon of chili powder.
If I can get it over there without spilling it.
Yes, okay, thank you. Okay.
Okay.
And now the lime juice, and that will.
And could you use like bottled lime juice
You
instead
can.
of fresh? Okay.
And I was impressed
Absolutely.
because I saw Savannah earlier actually juicing those limes herself. And I mean, she had the arm going in there. I mean,
They were tougher limes than they usually are.
It was a workout, wasn't it?
It was. And you just sit this, and it's better if you let it sit overnight for a couple of days and let it marinate and all the flavors come together. But since this is a cooking competition, this is one of the ones you would want to do in the beginning, so you can try to get those flavors combined together.
Okay.
And that looks like that makes enough you could serve with chips.
Yes,
just looks
you
good
can
right
have
there.
chips to have as a leftovers, as long with it as a side dish. And the juice that you drained off the peaches is enough to pair with 3 cups of tea to make a peach tea. So
That's
you
a
can
good
use
idea.
you can use the remainder of the peach juice.
So it
That's
has
a good use.
multi-functions.
Yes.
Very nice.
It's hard to find a good
Kids these
peach
days,
juice. I
they think of
know.
everything, don't they?
And it's hard to find a good peach tea recipe that you make at home, so that's a real good idea.
Well, a good thing is using a cup of sweet tea and then a half cup of peach tea and put it together, and that usually does a good thing.
It's a good mix. Sounds like a good mixture.
Is that it? That's the only preparation for it, and it's that simple?
For that?
Yeah.
Yes, that's it.
I know. Why'd you do the pork?
The pork is just 4 pork chops that I cut up into cubes, and then it has this barbecue seasoning that I just used. Just any barbecue seasoning will do, but I used this one. And you just use it with olive oil and cook it over time and just make sure it's cooked through, and that's all it is.
Wow. And of course, you know, you have the finished product here, which I could make, or I just go to the store and buy.
Buy a bag.
That's how I prepare. I just go buy the bag. Any kind of you know, chips will do, I guess. And then here is the winning recipe.
Yes.
So you plate the rice, the pork, and then the salsa on top. Looks good.
Well, Savannah, I am impressed, and I'm impressed that you guys came all the way up from Bainbridge. I'm going to hurry because your flight is leaving from Atlanta to go back to Bainbridge here shortly, but no. Thank you so much. Congratulations on your contest and after school.
Thank you, Savannah.
Because again, I know you said you're a senior in high school right now, so what are your plans afterwards? You're going to do a year at ABAC, correct?
Yes, I am. I'm doing a year at ABAC, and then I'm transferring to Georgia for a major in fashion merchandising.
Nice. So look out for Savannah. She's got a bright future ahead of us. Savannah, again, thank you so much. And folks, just a reminder, you can log on to gfb.org/recipe. Find all these delicious recipes on there. Marsha's got a bunch of recipes on there as well, so some very good stuff. Now it's time that we get to indulge in what Savannah made. See you next month.
All right, guys, great job as always. Just a reminder, if you missed any part of Meals from the Field or other features on today's show, you can still see them in their entirety at our YouTube channel. That's the Georgia Farm Monitor. Once there, browse the archive of stories that date back to 2009. And once you're done watching all those informative stories, keep clicking and like the Georgia Farm Monitor Facebook page. If you have a story idea or if you just want to leave us a comment or suggestion, feel free to send us a message either on Facebook or the address that's on the screen. That is news@farm-monitor.com. Time for our final break. When we come back, how leaders within the agriculture, education, and public health sectors have joined forces to increase the presence of more nutritious local foods within the school cafeteria.
Reasons I got a turf grass management degree from the University of Georgia is that UGA is one of the lead ag schools in the country. We have a phenomenal turf program. Our grass is used everywhere in the world.
Turf grass is everywhere. Think about playing with your dog and playing with your children. You literally on turf grass. So all those relationships are from turf grass. Turf grass is important for beautiful spaces. It cleans the air. It's just something that you don't think about, but it's really important to our world.
Or if you're an incoming student and you're interested from high school, if you're really into sports, we gear our turf grass program in Athens a lot around sports turf. We have a good relationship with the athletic facility where we have students that work at the UGA golf course and at UGA athletics on managing their athletic fields.
The number one thing on my resume that helped me was having UGA Athletic Association grounds crew on it, 100%.
One thing that I've noticed is, that really stands out about UGA is that our undergraduate program is growing. It's growing every day. It's getting bigger and bigger each year.
The idea is that when you have the UGA degree on your resume, it comes with not only solid education, but hands-on work, internships.
I knew that the University of Georgia would have some of the top professors and researchers in the country, and the curriculum associated with that would be a tough curriculum that would really prepare me for the working world.
The value that I've gotten from my turf management degree at the University of Georgia has been unbelievable. It led me to the path of meeting the right kind of people and networking with certain individuals that led me to where I am now at Atlanta Country Club.
If you're looking to get into turf management, the number one thing I can say is it's very satisfying work because you get to see the results of your hard work.
Being a turf management major, you get to do some incredible internships. You can go anywhere that you want with this degree, whether it be golf, whether it be baseball, whether it be football. You can do lawns. I mean, The degree is really malleable to whatever you want to get out of it.
If you're on the fence about going into turf grass, I would have to say it is a very rewarding career.
You know, one thing about the turf management degree is the options that are available. Doing golf courses, you can work anywhere in the country and even internationally if you desire to do so. But my options were vast. I was able to get a job in any sector of the industry I could.
There's really no better opportunity that you could get. I mean, you're literally right here next to it. If you're a student here, there's no better opportunity than coming out and work for the Athletic Association.
My foundation was built at the University of Georgia through my degree in turf management.
Last but not least, the days of corn dogs and square pizza being a lunchroom staple could soon be a thing of the past, as the Georgia Department of Agriculture and a number of schools across the state are teaming up as part of the Vision 2020 program.
Damon Jones tells you what that is and highlights one school that is eating produce literally grown in their backyard.
While this might look like your typical school cafeteria, the food they're serving is not. Oglethorpe Point Elementary in Glynn County is one of the schools involved with the Vision 2020 program, created by the Georgia Department of Agriculture with the goal of having 20% of all school menus serve Georgia-grown produce by the year 2020 and 20% of schools serving 50% Georgia-grown products.
But any of the produce that we order in, we get a list stating where that produce is coming from so that we can, and in advance we get the list so we can pick which items we want that are either Georgia or locally grown.
And this school has taken locally grown one step further by letting students tend to a garden on the school grounds.
When students are able to really get their hands on learning, plant, connect with the concept of how things grow and what makes them grow, it's just a great way for kids to really connect with that and with that part of the curriculum, and it really makes learning engaging for them, so it makes it real.
It gets the children involved in every aspect. So it exposes them to fresh fruit and vegetables right from the start, planting those vegetables, growing them. It gets them excited about trying vegetables, which is not always an easy thing to do, especially with really young kids.
And these kids not only grow the produce, they eat it as well.
So we had a few staff members that got interested in doing something with children with that, and then our cafeteria heard about what they were doing in the garden, and so then the cafeteria approached my teaching staff and said, let's plant some vegetables and let's serve them in the cafeteria.
And this allows students to experience the entire process from planting to picking to eating, which makes them appreciate their food that much more.
So when we're serving carrots or broccoli or things like that, the kids are actually seeing this thing come out of the ground that they can actually eat, and it's not processed, it's natural, it's all right here, it's grown in their backyard, so to speak, and so it's really, it's good for kids, and then it's promoting healthy choices.
These choices and the Vision 2020 program as a whole are designed to benefit these students now and into the future.
For kids to know where their food's coming from and to understand as they get older that this helps stimulate your local economy and this helps, your whole community. By avoiding the processed foods and things like that, you're also helping the environment.
I grew up on a farm, and so I live in this place where we don't have a lot of farms. And so it's helpful for kids to visualize that and understand that their food doesn't come from the grocery store.
Reporting from Glynn County, I'm Damon Jones for the Georgia Farm Monitor.
Nice job, Damon. That is going to do it for this week's edition of the Georgia Farm Monitor.
Just a reminder, for all the latest ag info regarding food, great recipes, and what's happening down on the farm, be sure and check out our Twitter, Facebook, and Pinterest pages. You'll stay informed and see what's up in the world of farming and here on the Farm Monitor Show.
Take care, everybody. We will see you next week right here on the Georgia Farm Monitor.
Have a great week.